podcast number 39 with Joshua Miller. Primal Flow, baby. Let's do this. All right. Joshua Miller 2.0. I mean, doing second podcast here. Thanks for being on the show, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me on, too.
How are you?
Good, man.
Yeah.
Just living up in the mountains and being a mountain man. So, yeah.
Tell me more about that, because I've been following your posts on Instagram where I see you, living in this great place, amazing views, embracing the mountain man, what is it called, spirit?
Yeah, spirit.
Tell me more about when did you move, where you live in?
Yeah, so I moved probably back in May, about 7 months ago. I used to live across from Chautauqua Park, which is like the main mountain park here in Boulder, and like of course it's super crowded with visitors and tourists and everything, so I would just be in my room all day just hearing like children yelling and like people like slamming their car doors and everything. So I was like, I gotta get out of here. I just got on Facebook Marketplace, found this awesome it's actually an old mining home from like the late 1800s. And it actually has like a cave on the property that is a mining cave. I'm still too freaked out to go in it, but someday I'm gonna go in there. It's just a 4-mile canyon, which is a road here in Boulder that goes out west.
Mm-hmm.
Since I work from home, I pretty much just stay home all day, and I don't have to talk to anybody if I don't want to. It is awesome though, because like the property's surrounded by national forest, so I could just go out my back door and just run up into the mountains. And then it's like 2 miles from the very end of Batasso, a preserve, like that outer loop. So I can just run down 4 Mile and just hop on Batasso. Life out there, I like life out there a lot more. It's a lot different. Like, like
more quiet, more secluded.
Yeah, and like people watch after each other. Since like you are kind of like 40 minutes away from like quote unquote civilization.
Mm-hmm.
And since it snows like probably 50% more out there than it does down here in Boulder. Like people just watch out for each other. Like I remember the first day that I moved in, my roommate's car wouldn't start, the battery was dead, and I posted on Instagram, and somebody down the street like left their work in downtown Boulder and drove all the way up the canyon to get her like her jumper cables to start my roommate's car.
That's nice.
I love living out there. It definitely is a lot different lifestyle, and I don't know, everybody that lives in the mountains kind of has the same mindset. Like they either don't like people at all or they just like quiet and seclusion and stuff. And that's definitely me. I just like just hearing, water and wind instead of, cars and little kids screaming.
It's so funny. You were just talking about living across, in the Chautauqua area, which in theory you would think, what a great place to live, right? Because you have Chautauqua right there, which for our listeners, Chautauqua is a very popular, really nice park in Boulder. Has all kinds of trails that you can just run miles and miles. Every time I would go there, I would be like, what a nice place. And, especially, again, if you just want to get on trails, it's so easy.
Yeah. And I mean, for trail access, I mean, Chautauqua is amazing because, as you know, that, I mean, you can hit most of the trails, all the peaks in Boulder, Bear, Sobo, Green, like all from there. But yeah, man, during the summer times, it's just like, I like couldn't even find a parking place like for my car because there were so many people out there, and there were a bunch of college kids and stuff. So I don't know. I mean, they're all cool people probably, but it's just, I don't like living there.
And so how high is it where you're living now?
It's at about 7,500 feet, which is like perfect. So I know friends who live in like Silverton, which is at 10,000 feet, or Leadville at 10,000 feet. And a lot of them get injured they get injured because they don't recover as quickly because they're living up so high and there's less oxygen.
Interesting.
So so like if they get injured, it takes them a lot longer to recover. But from people that I've talked to, they're like, 7,500 feet would be perfect, because it's in between Boulder and in Boulder and like Leadville. So like when I go down to Boulder, I have that little bit of edge, I guess. Like I'm not sure how much of a difference it makes, but yeah, it's about 7,500 feet around there, which I love because I just run up the canyon and just run back and then just come back into Boulder. But yeah, I'm not sure how much of a difference it makes in running, but yeah, it's at about 7,500 feet.
How's the internet connection?
Oh
there?
man,
I'm curious.
dude, it's horrible. And like since I work from home now, like I have to get on Skype all the time and like Google Hangouts, and I have to download presentations and like I believe we have Comcast, and for anybody in Comcast listening, I hate you all right? Because for the first 2 weeks that I lived there, they told us they were going to come each day and they never showed up. So like me and my roommates would stay home all day waiting for them.
Oh man.
And like they never would show up. And it's because they didn't want to go all the way up the canyon and have to do that, which I can understand. But yeah, internet's super slow. It's, working from home a lot, I get a lot of, slow connection and stuff. I believe there's something called HughesNet out there too. Oh,
don't go there, please.
Yeah.
Well, I was just going to say, you were just talking about Comcast, and I live in Fort Collins. And so, and like I was saying before we started this conversation, I live in this area that it's not like downtown, and we have HughesNet, and it's the worst thing ever.
Really?
So, it's the same thing. And at least where we live, it's we use a dish. And it freaking sucks. So HughesNet, if you're listening to it, you suck. I mean,
HughesNet, Comcast, you suck.
It's awful. It's the worst thing. And at least for me, when I have to download files, especially upload heavy files like the podcast files, or I go to the one of the public libraries in Fort Collins, and it's great.
Yeah.
I just go there and do my thing. I like going to coffee shops, but I stopped doing that. I go there sometimes because, well, I prefer the library. 2 reasons. One, it's more quiet. It's quieter. And two, I don't have to be buying coffee.
Yeah.
You just go there, do my business. I don't have to feel guilty about, I need to buy coffee now.
Yeah. Ooh, I bought a black coffee 4 hours ago.
Yeah, totally. And I still keep my same coffee and I pretend that I'm still having coffee. So I would,
fill it up with water and pretend like it's hot and just like blow on it.
But I like the library better. It's definitely more quiet. Although my wife and I were there a couple of days ago. She's just picking up some books, and so we were just there's a moment where I was talking to her, and she's like, lower your voice. And I said, like, how long has it been since you were in the library? Because it's not like that anymore. And I'm not saying this is the right thing. Libraries used to be so much quiet, than how they are these days, because now people just talk.
Yeah.
They just treat it as if they're any in a normal place. Now I try to sit in a quiet lounge, which is hilarious because yes, it's quiet, and then sometimes when there's people working there and they take their calls there, I'm like, yeah, dude, you cannot do this. This is a quiet lounge. So
yeah, it's not like the movies where like there's a librarian like shushing.
I think it used to be like that. I remember when I was in college, before like the days of the internet and things. It used to be like that. It used to be like quiet. You would not listen to anything. It was good times, I guess. But
yeah. What I do is a suggestion is what I do. I bought some Bose Quiet Comfort headphones, which are like noise canceling. And like when you turn those things on, it's like almost like a white noise. There's like this really faint, like kind of like staticky noise, but it's not annoying. And so like I'll just wear those all day pretty much, like when I'm working from home, especially at a coffee shop. But if you have music playing on them, even if it's low, you can't hear anything. So I mean, they are like $300, but I mean, they're definitely worth it. They're wireless. So if you want to get some of those would definitely help at the library.
Yeah, Bose are really good. I've been thinking about getting a pair of noise canceling headphones, because you're right. Sometimes I used to use an app called, I can't remember, but it was an app, I think it was called Coffee Shop or something like that, where the background would be the sounds kind of simulating as if you were working in a coffee shop.
Yeah. And
I liked it actually, but going back to awful internet connection, the app would stop working, so I just decided to give up on that. And yeah, I play music sometimes, and I sometimes play kind of the same songs in a loop. like I tend to be in phases. Like right now I'm listening to, do you know Vangelis or anyway, is this like new
No.
age guy, old guy.
Okay.
He made the soundtrack for like Blade Runner, the
Okay.
first one.
So it's like 80s type music?
Yeah, and it's very like new agey,
Mhm.
I guess. And there's this one song that I've been listening forever, but yeah, we could talk about songs all
Yeah.
all
Have
day.
Have you heard of binaural beats before?
No, what's that?
Yeah, that's where, and like those really help you focus. Like, but you got to listen to them with headphones. They play one frequency on one ear and one frequency on the other, and they're offset so that your brain tries to create a third frequency to connect the two. And you can pick on what type, like you can get gamma frequency or like all these other frequencies, and gamma help you focus. So it's almost like your brain creates its own tone, and you can kind of hear it like in the middle of your head. It's super weird. But yeah, that helps you focus a ton. In fact, they're even using it in Alzheimer's research now to like rebuild the brain, which is cool. So yeah. So yeah, you should check out binaural beats. There's tons of videos on YouTube.
Viral beats. Yeah, there's so many things I guess you can do to try to help you focus. We were just talking about, post-its or little notes that like you write, to just help you focus. Like right now I have my computer one that says focus work, because I just want to try to be as efficient as possible. There's so many distractions, man.
Yeah.
That
All over the place. That's why I like living on the mountains, because you don't have to see, because I have a really hard time focusing.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, especially on the work that I do, like there's a lot of pressure and stress sometimes. So it's like, I have to focus. And if I hear anything, it just annoys me. So like, that's why I don't go to coffee shops either.
yeah. What are you doing these days for work?
So I'm doing consulting now. So when I lived in Nashville about 3 years ago, I worked at agencies like we talked about, and I know you've worked in branding before too. But yeah, I moved here, and I don't know why, but I was like, I'm in a new place. I want to try a new job. And I picked a job that I knew I wasn't going to be good at, and that I knew I would have to grow. And I kind of purposely did that so that I could kind of work on my weaknesses, instead of always going towards strengths. But after 3 years of doing it, I was like, I hate this. Like, I hated going into work every day. Like last time when we talked, I was a banker, and like, I'm like the furthest from a banker type person. But yeah, I was like, why am I doing this? Like, I hate going into work every day. Like, I literally would just get dread going into work, because I don't work well just sitting in a little office with a tie and working with like,
I cannot see you doing that, man. Yeah.
Yeah, no, actually all the people that I worked with, because I worked at Wells Fargo for a little while and then at another bank, and like each bank I worked at, they were like, I can't see you like being a banker. And I was like, yeah, I can't either. But I was purposely doing it to like make myself uncomfortable. But then after 3 years, I was like, why am I doing this? Like, I'm not making good money or money that I want to make, save like I want to save. So I contacted a couple of contacts I have from work that I did previously in advertising. So yeah, now I'm kind of doing consulting and freelance, kind of contract retainer type positions. So I'm back doing branding. I mainly do strategy. So like there's two parts to that, like UX strategy. So like, hey, Josh, we want to build an app or a website or a platform. Like, how should we do this? What do our users want? And then there's the other side of strategy, which I do like management firm or management consulting. So places like Deloitte or like these big management firms, they're like, our team isn't working well. How can we work more efficiently? How can we get along? So it's a pretty good gig. Like, I mean, I just, and of course a lot of people would hate this, living up in the mountains and just working up there all day and not seeing anybody. Like, they might go like get cabin fever or something, but I love it. And I actually found that I work 10 times better working from home on my own schedule. And like, that doesn't work with everybody, because when you do literally manage all of your time, it could be easy to kind of, ooh, I'm going to go do this instead, or I'm going to put this off. But like, I don't think I could ever work in an office again. Like, I can work so much better at home. Like, I can probably do work in a day at home that might take me 5 days at the office, because like we were talking about, like I kind of have a hard time focusing sometimes, and with distractions, like I just get distracted by everything. I'm like a like dog or something. Like I'll just be sitting there, and if I see somebody walk by, ooh, that's distracted, and then it takes me another 20 minutes to get refocused. So yeah, I'm doing management consulting, working from home, and I love it. Like I couldn't think of a more perfect situation right now. Like I've had a couple offers from different places, like down in DTC and stuff, that were like, you know, really good money, but I was like, you know, I don't want to drive an hour and a half every day, and I love being out in the mountains.
The Denver Tech
Tech
Center.
Yeah, Denver Tech Center. And shoot, actually from where I live, it could be 2 hours each way. So
yeah, that's in the south of Denver. It's a long commute.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm not driving 2 hours like just for a little bit more money, you know. But that's kind of how I've kind of the last year, like I just turned 30 about a month and a half ago, and like since then I've been just like thinking about like, ooh, you know, I want a family someday, I want kids someday. Like, you know, I am not good at saving, you know, I don't really have a 401k or anything. So like ever since I started doing consulting again, it's really kind of helped me plan for my future and kind of be an adult in that way. Cause I feel like since I moved here up until about a year ago, I was just kind of like, you know, I want to go somewhere every weekend and I want to have all these experiences, you know, but now I'm kind of finding the balance between like, you know, providing for my future and saving, you know, enough money to buy a house sometime, and then, you know, still having fun. So it's weird. People said when you turn 30, like things would change, and like I didn't believe them because it's just an age. But like honestly, after a week of turning 30, I like kind of really flipped my mindset, and I'm kind of more, you know, responsible and more thoughtful of my future. So it's kind of weird. I mean, you're 30, right? Oh, you're not?
Much older.
Oh yeah.
44.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. All right. So, you know, so I'm sure when I turn 40, that'll happen again, right? Like I'll have a epiphany.
Well, yeah, it's interesting. I was just gonna ask you, was there a particular day or moment that made you start thinking differently? So it was your birthday. I don't know that really happened with me, but yeah, that's an interesting. But you definitely start thinking more about your future. I guess being more responsible. So that's good. Awesome. So you're liking. It's funny that you talk about like working from home and how much you like it. You feel more focused. I like it too, but I personally feel that I need like to go different places sometimes to just go different places. That's why I go to the library. I find it. Sometimes I tend to focus more when I'm, you know, in an environment where, I don't know, it's all I have to do is just work. Because sometimes at home, yeah, you can listen to music or my cat's hanging out with me.
Yeah.
Things like.
Yeah, I do miss though, like, I mean, I'm sure you know, like working at agencies before, like I do miss that like collaboration.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah, of like going into like a team room and like getting on a whiteboard and putting up Post-it notes and throwing back ideas, like
war room.
Yeah, exactly, the war room, and like doing sprints together for like, you know, new products. But
what's sprints? Sorry.
So sprints are like 2-week processes where you have different areas like diverge, converge. It's pretty much where you take the product development process that can take 6 months or longer and you put it into 2 weeks.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, so it's like you just go all out, and you know, it's a very kind of lean, agile type environment where but yeah, I do miss that, and that's why every once in a while like I'll look out for jobs at other places, because it's like I miss, you know, being physically, you know, in a room with somebody, you know, throwing ideas around and everything. So I don't know, maybe someday I'll work somewhere where I'm going to like 50% of the time I'm going to work at home and then I'm going to come into the office, but that's kind of hard to find because places are typically either fully remote or, you know, you got to be in the office all the time.
Right. I hear you. I agree with you. The whole interaction or interacting with people, the dynamics, the energy that you get. Yeah, that's one of the things I kind of miss, you know, from, I guess, working with other people or in previous jobs as well is because sometimes you push yourself, you learn from other people. Yeah, it's good.
Exactly. And I mean, it's possible to hang out and Skype and stuff, but it's not the same. And Slack, man, that's all I use is Slack. Have you used Slack before?
You know, no. I mean, I know what that is, but give me a Slack 101
Yeah.
thing. Well, I
Yes.
mean, is it like a project management tool, communication tool?
It's like Google Drive mixed with email mixed with instant messenger. So like you can pretty much have it and not have to save any file that anybody sends because it's saved within the Slack platform. And there's like different channels for each project. Like you can message people directly. So it's pretty much like an all-in-one type like project management, file management, communication. And like I don't ever send any emails anymore, which helps because like people hate emails like and they don't read them. So
Don't read them.
yeah, Slack is awesome. They haven't really been doing good since they went public. I was going to invest in them, but I'm not going to now. Sorry, Slack.
How about we work? I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's really bad.
What was I going to say? I was going to say something about oh man, I can. But whoops, I lost my thought process. Sorry. But okay, Slack. Any interesting trends that you've seen since working, you know, in advertising consulting these days that gets you interested? Like, I don't know, in general.
Yeah.
Anything interesting you've seen?
I don't know. And that's the thing, because like a large part of my job is reading. Like probably 75% of my job is reading and, you know, compiling all this information. And then the other 25% is like figuring out trends and themes and insights and, you know, what are we going to do with this research? And like everything that I've looked at, it's like people always talk about technology, stuff like AI and like VR and like all this new type stuff. But like people really haven't applied it in a practical way. You know, it's almost like they're trying to say, hey, we had this, you know, virtual reality or augmented reality technology, so let's figure a problem that we're going to implement it in. And it just doesn't feel right. It feels like they're forcing it. But I am seeing like more practical applications of technology like today. Like I'm working on for a client right now that's a big hotel, and like I'm doing a lot of competitor research and I'm finding that virtual reality and like augmented reality are like two popular trends, and they're actually applying them in a like practical, reasonable way. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty much been the same. The last 5 years, I feel like the same trends have been there, you know, but it's just that we're getting closer and closer to actually practically applying it, instead of saying, hey, we have $1 million, so let's just force this technology on this problem, but they don't fit, so it doesn't stick, you know? But yeah, I mean, like, you know, I mean, for hotels, like smart hotels, you know, like a lot of predictive analytic technology, virtual reality, augmented reality. But yeah, I mean, they've pretty much been the same trends for the past 4 years. But yeah, like I said, they're just getting closer to actually like applying them how they should be applied in the most effective way.
Right.
Yeah.
I've been listening to Seth Godin. He has, of course, tons of books, but this is funny. But like, I started listening to a couple of his audiobooks, and they have been like a big help for my long runs.
Which books?
So the last one he launched, which is genius. I love him. Love it. It's called This Is Marketing. Because what I find interesting, you know, you probably relate to this. Like, there's so many marketers, gurus these days that tell you that they're the best, you know, and they try to, you know, they have their own thing. Like, for instance, Gary Vaynerchuk, which I admire the guy, but he's all about hustle. Yeah. And then Tim Ferriss is all about hacking. But in my opinion, Seth Godin is the way he basically presents how marketing should be these days. You know, that companies are still doing marketing the old way. They are disrupting a lot, like not in the good way. You know, they're shouting to, you know, basically to try to get customers, and they focus on volume and not quantity. One of the things that stuck with me the most is this idea of building a tribe. You know, like focus on the few people who really care about you, instead of trying to do Facebook ads, which, you know, again, it's like shouting, you know, to people, hey, come and buy my product. Try to build a good product that people will look for you by your name on Google. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah, because he wrote Drive, right? Because I read that book, and I think he wrote it. Or no, that was Simon.
Sinek.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
And he also has a book. Godin has a book called Tribes, which it was written 2014. Anyway, so there's like 2 audiobooks that I've been listening to, and when I do my long runs, 3-4 hour runs, I just like to listen to those books, which is funny because it's a business book, but he presents it and narrates it in such a good way that's so easy to listen to. I've listened to those books a couple times at least. And I've been listening to a lot of audiobooks lately. Like right now I'm listening to 2 which talking about mental strength. One is called The Champion's Mind by this PhD, I think, author called Jim Affermo, and I don't know if I'm saying his name correctly. It's a book about how all these big performing athletes, Olympians, things like that, they what they do to be basically their best version, and a lot of that is, of course, your mind, training your mind, and And the other book that I've been listening to is Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins.
Yeah,
dude,
I need to read that.
It's amazing. It's I mean, the guy's extreme, but
I know, man. I have a funny story about Goggins too.
Yeah.
I remember, like, cause he's from Alabama, originally from there, and like I'm from Tennessee. So there's this race called Music City Ultra, and it's this 50K. And I found out that he was racing it, and this was like 5 years ago, like right when I started running.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, Goggins is running it. I'm gonna get in the top 3 so that I can talk to him after, And when I finished, I ended up getting 3rd, I think. But like, even when I got there, like, I was asking the race director, I was like, where did Goggins go? And he said that he literally crossed the finish line and continued running to his car and just got in it and left. So like, he didn't even say to talk to anybody or to get his award. He was just so like focused, and like he just wanted to get there and get it done. So like, he went there and he literally just kept running, got in his car and left. And I actually got the gift card that he should have got. So thanks, David, for listening to this. But yeah, I listen to Rogan sometimes, and like, Cameron Haynes was on there, and like they're all friends and stuff, and they're like, Goggins, like, it's not like a show. Like, he's literally like that in person. Like, all this stuff that he posts on his Instagram, he ran the Moab 240 and like had to go to the hospital at like with 20 miles left or something, and came back and finished it. Like, man, that dude's intense. But yeah, I need to read his book. What's it called again?
Can't Hurt Me.
Yeah, Can't Hurt Me. Yeah, I need to like listen to that on an audiobook when I'm running.
For me, my favorite thing about Goggins, because he's extreme, like, for instance, he does things that, like, you'll read it. There's an episode where he talks about running with broken legs. I mean, he just does things like that. And for some people, like, my wife is also listening to the book, and she likes him, but she also thinks that, oh, that guy's too crazy, which, I kind of agree. But for me, the most fascinating thing about him, more than all the badass things that he's doing now, is where he comes from. Like, he basically, how he created this person, considering where he came from. I mean, there's a chapter called I Should Have Been a Statistic, because all the things he had to deal with, like, he didn't have the direction, he struggled, and he dealt with all kinds of shit when he was young and growing up, and the fact that he's become the person who he is, I mean, he's the real deal. And that's why I really, because again, you have so many, I don't know, people on social
fake
media.
People,
yeah. And so, which, by the way, that's interesting. Did you hear that Instagram is getting rid of likes?
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I knew that they were testing it, but I didn't know that they were actually doing it. Wow.
I think that they're gonna do it.
Like likes and followers, or just likes?
I think just likes.
Okay.
Maybe in the next. I don't know. I don't know if it's next month but I think sooner than later. I also read that there's several countries that were already testing it, and there's so many fake followers and fake likes, and it's interesting because I think one of the reasons why they say they're getting rid of that is because there's a sense of pressure, right, that you get by not getting enough likes. And I always think about me, like, I'm not I'm in my mid 40s, and I'm working on trying to build my Instagram followership, and it's stressful, man.
Yeah.
It's like, what am I doing? Why don't I get enough likes? And I can see that,
Yeah. Yeah. And it's super easy to get like that. I mean, I totally feel you on that. Like the first 2 years that I lived here, I kind of developed this like alter ego of like primal flow. And like, I was like, anytime I went to run, I was like, all right, what am I going to like take a picture of? Like, oh my gosh, this picture sucks. Like I need to take a different one. And like, you don't enjoy like when you go outdoors, and instead you just worry about the picture. And like, I remember I was posting every day for like a whole year, and like, I was stressed because I was like, I don't want to post this. Like,
Yeah.
like I felt pressure to put like some really insightful long captions, and like thinking of one every day was just like super hard. So
And you don't see the ROI, right?
Yeah.
Like, you don't necessarily see the likes you want to see, or you're not necessarily monetizing that.
Yeah.
So I hear you.
Yeah, well, I mean, now within the last year, I said, screw that. I'm not doing that anymore. So, like, I post, like, a post on Instagram probably once every month or 2 months, and I just, do it when I feel like it. Like, like if I don't, granted, stories, I like doing stories a lot because it's kind of like this fun, like, thing, like, throughout a day. Like, here's what I see, and it's easy to do a story, and it's fun. I, like, thoroughly enjoy it. Like I love film, and I love movies and directors, so I kind of feel like I'm like directing a movie or something, but yeah, I don't hardly ever post. I think the last time I posted was like 2 months ago.
Really? Because you're right. You're very active on stories. I always see you doing your thing in the mountain, shooting your gun.
Yeah, yeah, man. I've like never been a gun person ever.
Talk about that experience. I'm just real curious because I don't do guns, so
Yeah, no, well, I mean, I'm from Tennessee where, like, everybody has a freaking gun, and, like, I thought guns were stupid. I was like, ooh, all these people having guns, like, why do they have them? Like, why do they need them? But after living up in the mountains, like, that's a need out there. Like, it's not a want, it's a need. Like, we see bears and mountain lions out there probably once a week, once every 2 weeks. Like, I remember my roommate's car, literally a bear came up, opened the handle, and tore up his whole like interior.
Man.
And like we hear cats all the time, like mountain lions like screeching and stuff at night. And like when I go outside at night with my dog, like I'm just on full alert. I'm like, I have a flashlight, I have my bear spray because because I mean it's like the real deal out there, and it's not like super deep in the mountains, but it's deep enough to where it's a really good spot that like bears and mountain lions like. So yeah, and two, out in the mountains, a lot of groups of like looters and like like people like home invasion people, like they'll get a whole group of people and go out there and hit like 5 or 6 houses at a time because they know that the cops will take like 30 or 45 minutes to get up there. And that happened to one of my roommate's friends down the road from us. So I was like, I'm not going to let somebody come into my house and possibly hurt me or my dog or my roommates. And I'm not going to let a bear eat my dog either.
Yeah.
or attack me because like we had this long driveway that goes like our house is like halfway up a mountain and there's a long driveway that goes down to 4 Mile Canyon, which is the main road that it's off of. And if you go down there at night, you're just surrounded by these 2 ridges where like, you can feel like mountain lions up there, like watching you. So yeah, I got it as a practical reason, as a need. But then once I got it and I shot it, I was like, this is awesome. I mean, like, yeah, I mean, it's not the whole thing like, ooh, this is power, I have a gun. It's not that. It's just fun to like just practice shooting and like getting better at it. And like, it's fun to just, I don't know, it feels good to shoot, it feels good. So yeah, I went out and got like this Smith & Wesson just 40 caliber gun, which is a pretty powerful gun, but it's not like a shotgun or anything. And yeah, I've been going, I got it probably 2 weeks ago, and I've probably gone 5 or 6 times in the past 2 weeks just to like get me used to shooting. And so that if I have to use it, I can, but I'm super careful with it. Like I keep it locked. I don't even keep a magazine in the gun. Like even if the magazine isn't loaded, I just keep everything separated. Because I am new to it. And thankfully my roommate is really into guns, so he's kind of like teaching me and stuff. But yeah, it's, I mean, I wouldn't say I'm a gun person now, but like I did it out of a necessity or a need, because I don't want to, just rely on bear spray and a little, REI knife that I had. Yeah. And two, I do a lot of backcountry camping. Like even in the winter, I go way out there, like off the grid, like, way out there. So like if something happens out there, I'm dead, because, so yeah, I have it for that too. But I still need to get a shotgun. And who knows, I might get like a Uzi or something.
So do you carry your gun when you run?
No, I actually, so like Colorado has pretty lax not running laws, gun laws. So of course they have the open carry where like you can carry it on your belt as long as it's visible to anybody, like it's reasonably visible. But in order to like if I was going to carry it while I was running my pack or something, I'd have to get my concealed weapons permit, which
I see.
Yeah, which you have to go through this whole process but yeah, someday I'm going to get that concealed weapons permit
Maybe
so
you
that I can.
Maybe you should go to Ultimate Direction and say, "Hey, you guys, I have an idea. Maybe we should create a pack where we got a strap on the front. I can put my gun."
Oh
because,
man, that's a good idea.
Because like you carry a bear spray knife.
Yeah, I do.
I think of you like a ram. Dude, you have the hair too. There you go.
Yeah.
I mean, so you usually carry, and it's funny because I think about the things that I carry when I go on runs, and I complain that I'm carrying my GoPro. It's too much stuff. You know, it's too heavy. And then you carry stuff that's like real deal, like bear spray and a knife.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing, man. A lot of people like make fun of me for doing that because like anytime I'm running way out in the mountains, no matter where, I always bring my bear spray and like a knife of some sort. And like I know it's extremely rare. Like it's never probably going to happen that you're going to get attacked. But like it's not that much trouble just carrying bear spray, and it could save your life, So, but I mean, the gun is pretty heavy, so I don't know how that'll go. But yeah, I do carry my bear spray and knife around.
Is bear spray heavy?
No, it probably weighs as much as like an empty coffee cup, maybe.
Oh, okay.
But it's expensive for like a bottle. It's like $90.
Dude, wow.
Yeah.
And like, how many? I mean, let's say you see it bear. Would you use a whole canister with, or just
yeah, it has like this continuous spray on it where it has this like protector so that you don't end up spraying yourself in the face. But I think if you hold it down, it'll spray continuously for 30 seconds, but you can let your thumb off. It's funny. The first experience I had with bear spray was going up a 14er La Plata like 2 or 3 years ago, and I picked up a bottle of bear spray, and I'd never seen it before because I was from Tennessee and I wasn't used to that. I picked it up and I was like, ooh, this is a button, and I pressed it, and the wind was coming towards me. So when I sprayed it, all the bear spray, and I had my shirt off and I was sweaty, so it just attached all to my chest and to my stomach, and it was just burning tremendously. So that was my first experience with bear spray. So don't mess around with bear spray.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
Talking about running, how's this year been for you? Your training and your races. Yeah, in general, you were saying that I think you had would you say 2019 was a better year or than last year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk
about that experience.
Yeah, like I ran 3 races. Yeah, I ran 3 races in 2019. I ran Spitfire 50K, Palisades 100, and then Sangre 100.
Which you won, Spitfire 50K. Yeah. Good job.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, and that was out in Idaho, and like I hadn't ran a 50K since I started running. So like there were a couple like track college people there that had like ran track and cross country in college. I was like, oh man, these like fast people are gonna like murder me. But actually it was cool. It was up and down a volcano in Idaho, and you literally ran like into the rim of the volcano and ran around. Yeah. Yeah, it was a hard race. But yeah, I did that. I did Palisades, which is the shirt that I'm wearing, even though I DNF'd. And like that was a new experience because like, I mean, I haven't raced like a tremendous amount, but I've raced a good amount, and I was like, I can't think of a time when I would actually quit, like I would literally have to be dying or something. But my opinion on that has changed a lot since I DNF'd. Yeah, like DNFs make sense, and they're smart and they're mature running decisions if you I mean, unless you're David Goggins and you're just going to go through it no matter what. But yeah, I had worked like Palisades. This was back the end of July, and It was out in Idaho as well. It was like 2 hours from the Tetons, so it was like a really gorgeous place. The race was half in Idaho, half in
Wyoming.
Yeah, half in Wyoming. And yeah, I had worked a lot, so we left on a Thursday, but the Monday and Tuesday, Wednesday, I worked about 45 hours total. So I was working like 15, 16 hours a day, like just trying to get all this stuff done before I went on my race. And because of that, I didn't eat really at all, you know, because I was just so focused. I was drinking coffee, you know, I didn't think, I probably ate like a meal a day maybe, which is like horrible. And so when I got to the race, like the first 2 miles, I was like, something's off here. Like I feel like I'm already bonked almost, you know? And like I was falling every mile. Like I literally was tripping over my feet every mile, even from like the first 5 miles, because I was just so depleted, you know? And you know, that's my own fault, because I was like, oh, I've ran hundreds before, like I don't have to eat and prepare like that, you know? But that's what's cool about ultras, is that if you don't respect them, they're gonna like come back and bite you in the butt. But yeah, somehow, like I remember when I came into the 20-mile aid station, my crew, like they were like I like had my head down, and they would do that kind of up look thing at me, like, you know, when they knew something was wrong. And somehow I made it to mile 60. Like I remember the last 10 miles I was running with one hand over one eye, because I was so dizzy that I was falling. And my pacer had to stand behind me and like hold me up, like hold me up if I was falling. So finally at mile 60, I was like, if I keep going, like it's not worth it to finish these 40 miles. Like I could have done it, but it would have just dug me into the ground. Because for about a month after that, I was just kind of really depleted and lethargic, because I had pushed myself past my bonk point pretty much. But yeah, I really kind of looked at things a lot differently after that, and figured out that, you know, it's okay to DNF, you know, it's smart to do that if it's going to cause more harm than good. And that's kind of the person I am. I'm a very like pro-con type person, very rational, and I kind of weigh the pros and the cons, and, you know, the cons just weren't worth the pros. So I quit.
And when was Palisades?
Palisades was July 21st or something. But so then, wait, was that a month later? No, it was 2 months later.
Late July. Yeah.
And then after I kind of got out of that funk I was in from the DNF, I was like, you know what? I'm going to use that as a training run, and I'm going to run another 100. So I signed up for Sangre, and, you know, it was a UTMB qualifier. It was a Sky Race Series run, so it was a pretty hard run. And it was all at altitude from like 9,500 feet to like 12,000, I think. But I'd ran the 100K last year, so it was a cool race. But yeah, finished that. It was hard. One of my pacers, amazing. Like she had only ran, like she's not a runner, and she'd only ran at most 20 miles before that, but she ran 48 miles with me at that race.
That's incredible.
Yeah, so like I was just as amazed at that as I was at, like, you know, everybody finishing this 100-miler. And it kind of shows you that like you don't have to do all this training and stuff like for 6 months or something to run 100. Like if you put your mind to it, like you can, like, I mean, she didn't train at all. Well, I mean, she trained a little bit, but it wasn't like strict training, and she ran 48 miles and she was perfectly fine.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that kind of shows you, like, you know, that it really all is in your head. And I know people say that all the time, like it's all mental, but it's, you know, you got to do something to actually get it, you know, in your head. Cause it's one thing saying it's mental, and it's another thing doing it and then figuring out that it's mental.
Yeah. I agree. I think it takes, so I got distracted. Got a text message from my wife.
I was like, oh, is that my phone?
It just takes training. That's one of the things that I've been trying to work more on. It's like developing your mental strength. You made me think of when you were talking about your friend running 40 miles. You made me think of when I did the bear chase, 50K a couple months ago. I think my longest training run for that race was 15 miles. And then I found myself in the race running the first 20 miles super strong, and I was like, whoa, been running only 15 miles, and then, you know, now during the race I've been running 20 miles and I feel really, really good. So it's a lot of the mind is a lot. Or we were talking about this other race that I did that was going up the first 4 miles, and and it was hard, but I was just like, I'm just gonna keep going and see how. I'm not gonna quit. And yeah, I think it's you need to train yourself, and that's why books like the books that we're talking about, the Champion's Mindset or Can Hurt Me, I found that they're really helping me, and it makes you think about, hey, what else can I do?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. And Sangre too kind of just showed me, like, even if you think like even if if you're in this bad mindset, like, you can't really do anywhere near what you could do if you just simply just thought positive. Like, I remember at Sangre, I came in at mile like 96 to pick up my last pacer, and I had 8 miles left, which was just like your race. It was straight up this pass and back down. And I was like screaming. I was like cussing. Like, I was out of it. I was like, why am I doing this? Like, I hate this. Like, why did he make it 104 miles? It's a 100-mile race. And I was getting so mad at everybody. And my pacer was just like, just come on, let's keep going. And like, he would like do the little tricks that pacers do to like keep you moving. And I was just in this horrible negative mindset. But when we almost got to the top of the pass, he was like, there's second place up there. And from that minute, I kind of like switched my brain into like adrenaline mode. And from that moment on, I was completely positive, you know, because I knew that there was a goal, that there was somebody to pass. And like, it's just crazy how quickly like your mind can change, like, depending on like, it's just so easy to get in this like downward spiral of like, oh, this, you know, and it's like toxic and it gets off. But like, if you just kind of chill for a minute and like think that it's hurting you more than it's doing good, and you know, you can do awesome stuff, you know, especially in a race when your adrenaline's already going.
You're right. One of the things that I've been learning from reading the Goggins book is that it's kind of related to, you know, motivation. It's kind of bullshit. Focus more on discipline and trying to be more consistent, because you're not really gonna feel like, you know, doing it all the time. And it's been interesting. Like, a lot of times I just don't want to go out on my runs. But like one time I went on this long run and it was snowing, and I was like, oh dude, this is not going to happen. And then I asked myself this simple question that I haven't asked myself, I think, ever. I was like, why are you supposed to be running this distance today? And then I thought about this goal that I have, which I call this a Chasky challenge. I've been posting it on Instagram. So
I see those.
The goal is to do something hard that day. And so I'm training for this run. And, you know, December 7th in Boulder, running at the reservoir. I mean, it's not a challenging course, but it might snow. Who knows, right? So that's it. That long run reminded me of why I was doing that, because I want to complete. So, yeah, it's interesting to, when you start asking yourself, why are you doing this? What's the goal of this specific workout and things like that? So,
yeah, and the why is like so important. Like, I remember like honestly, I've been struggling with that like since Palisades. Like, halfway through, I was like, why am I out here? Why am I doing this? You know, and like kind of like, you know, being in recovery, like having that past was like almost like having a steroid. Like, it like really pushed you further, you know. And it's like, I almost feel like it's cheating, like when somebody has gone through, well, I mean, everybody goes through hard stuff, but like some things affect people more. And you can either give into that and keep on the path you are, or you can like use that as fuel to like do all this other stuff. So that's kind of what got me running, is like using my past and kind of using it to say, you know, I don't want to go back there. Like all this stuff that happened. And, you know, that's honestly what got me running. And like, I would not be running right now if I didn't go through that. But the last 6 months, I've kind of struggled with, I felt like I've worked through a lot of stuff over the past 4 years I've been running. So it's almost like I don't have that like demon anymore, you know? Yeah. And like, it almost, you know, it sounds, you know, counterintuitive, but like most people would be like, ooh, that's good that you worked through it. But now that that's not there, my main motivation and fuel has kind of like, you know, suppressed itself, you know? So like, since my race in late September, I've probably ran 5 or 6 times, like, just cause I'm like, you know, I need to take a break. I just trained for 200 milers, and I'm kind of reevaluating like why I'm running, just like you said, because like I feel like I've, just like I said, I've worked through a lot of stuff. So that why has kind of, been lost a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And when you don't have that why, just like you said, and it's not meaningful to you, then it's going to be really hard to do like whatever you're doing. It's going to be hard to go out and run in the snow, like you said. So like before I get back into training and pick a race, I'm going to make sure that I re-hone in on my why and like discover my why again, because I felt like I was losing it, so.
Interesting. Have you, it's funny because I wanted to ask you about, have you thought of other types of races or sports like cycling, like for instance, gravel cycling is something that I started doing relatively recently, and it's going to be a big goal for me for next year. Have you heard of all these races that are happening?
Yeah. And I mean, like a couple of my friends have got some of those like gravel grinder bikes, and like everybody keeps telling me that. They're like, dude, you should go do like ride your bike. Like, I mean, you have these big quads. I mean, you should go like ride a bike. But I just don't want to spend $5,000 on a bike.
Well, the good thing about that, you're right, is that gravel bikes are not as expensive as road bikes. So you can get a decent one for, I don't know, $1,200 or even,
okay.
So it's not as expensive as buying a road bike. And I don't know. It's really, really exciting to see, like, now there's all these races. My favorite thing about gravel cycling is that now all these places that were not as popular, I guess, before, like, I don't know, middle of Nebraska or the middle of Kansas, this place in the Midwest, they're like paradise for gravel cycling because you have this endless road. So these states, like, Illinois and Nebraska, they're becoming these meccas of cycling, and everybody's going there. I think it's funny. There's a race that I would like to do called Dirty Kansas. Have you heard of it? So it's like a 200-mile gravel race in Kansas, and to get in there, it's like the new Leadville. It's actually owned by the same company that owns Leadville, Lifetime Fitness. And so there's this lottery, and you have
bike race.
Bike race, 200 miles all in gravel. And the winners, I think they finish it in, I don't know, 13 hours. It's a long day. And there are all kinds of races these days, 50-milers, 100-milers. And so that's something that I definitely want to explore because, again, goes back to, for me, my why. And also, I don't know, I've been having a much stronger sense of urgency lately. Like, life is short. You need to start doing those bucket list type of races. Try different things. So
do you do trails or just like gravel or do you go up canyon roads or something?
No, it's just, most of it is just dirt roads, gravel roads, so it's just no single track. Is that what you're asking?
Oh, I guess I meant like what you do in your free time.
Right. Yeah, so where I live, besides the running, there's areas where the back roads really just go and ride. I haven't been riding a lot lately, but I'm going to start riding. I mean, I'm really planning to ride during the winter, outside and, of course, inside, indoors. But
yeah, I might do that because like a lot of my friends do that. Yeah, like they'll either do skinning, which skiing is a whole nother thing, which I've never skied before, which is crazy because I lived in Colorado for 4 years. But
me neither.
Oh yeah? All right, good. All right, yeah, you're the only person I've ever talked to that doesn't do that. But yeah, it's either that or biking, and like I think, like especially with ultra running, like you're running so much and it's so taxing that it'd be good to just ride a bike every once in a while and mix it up.
Yeah, I think, I'm really excited about that for next year because something new, it's fun, and you can use it as a great cross training for your run, for your running. So there you go. I'm just saying, you want to go on a ride?
Yeah. I remember my coach broke his ankle about a year ago, and he had to ride his bike for 4 or 5 months without running, and he actually was faster running after that 4 months when he hadn't ran at all. He had just biked. So, I mean, it definitely does something, it works your legs differently. It helps with the turnover and your hamstring. So, yeah, I might go get me like a Schwinn or something and hit you up, like one of those Walmart bikes.
That's awesome. Hey, one of the things I've noticed that you've been doing this year a lot, or a big focus for you, has been, what would be the right word, conditioning, strength training, getting work done. Talk more about how that has helped you to, I assume, be a better athlete overall.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, totally. And like that's kind of like a myth within like the running community, is that the only way to get faster and be a better runner is to run. Well, no, that's not necessarily true, because you're going to get injured. Like, you won't have the strength and the endurance to run up a hill versus walk it. So yeah, I started working with this place called the Chiro Lab here in Boulder. And this was probably about a year and a half ago. And like since then, it's like completely changed my running. Like I went into it because after I ran Zion 100, which was right when we talked last time, I had really injured my IT band. Like it was bad. Like anytime I would run, it would feel like there would be an ice pick like going into my leg, and I literally would just collapse. So I was like really like down, because I was like, man, I can't run. And I would force myself to run, but it was just hurting my leg more. So I actually met Ellen, who owns the Cover Lab, at a group run, a Fleet Feet group run, and I knew about her, so I hit her up because she really has like an innovative model. Like she's called the Chiro Lab, but she's not just chiropractic work. She's chiropractic work in sports, like physical therapy type stuff. So she doesn't just work on your back and your posture, which is important for running. She also works on injuries. She works on like massaging and like using that like rock tool and taping you up. So she does a variety of things, which is kind of cool, because most places you have to go to multiple places to do that.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
I see.
Yeah, so she kind of has it all in one. And then she opened a gym, which is now at BRC, the Boulder Rock Club, down here in Boulder off 28th. And yeah, she was like, hey, you're doing the chiro work, and it really helped with my running. I could start running like a couple weeks after us starting treatment, and every race that I've done since then, even though IT band issues always come back, it's never came back for me. And that's because I keep going to her to get it worked on. But then she was like, hey, well, to make your running even stronger, let's do some mobility and stability work. And I was like, what's that? What is that? I don't want to be like balancing on balls and stuff. But she's she does a really good job at kind of like staying up on what's new in the world of like sports therapy and like conditioning and stuff. So she always goes to like workshops or to like shows, and she always brings back all this new stuff that she learns. And she kind of has really busted the myth for a lot of me and my friends in the ultra running community, because a lot of my friends have started to go see her too, because they saw my improvement in running. But she's really bust that myth of working out is going to make you big and bulky and not flexible and stuff. That's completely untrue. Granted, if you go do powerlifting, that's going to happen, but she really focuses on like really mindful movements, on balance, on stability, on mobility. She integrates her training with your running training. So if you're about to have a race, she'll change the training around to meet that. After a race, she'll do a lot of work that's going to help you recover more. But yeah, that's really helped me out a lot. In my running, I was really freaked out after my IT band, but even running, the 200s, well, the 100 that I've done in the past year, like my IT band didn't even hurt after that, which before I started seeing her, it would hurt after I got 5 years. Sorry, not 5 years, 5 miles. But yeah, so I see her, I get worked on probably every couple weeks. I go about twice a week to her. And yeah, she's very, she'll work with you. She'll work with your coach. So she doesn't just work in this silo. But yeah, it's pretty cool. So Chiro Lab, you should check it out.
Nice. And she's also working, you were saying, with other athletes as well, right?
Yeah. So she's working with a lot of my friends who are also ultra runners. And I kind of told one of them about it, and then they went there and they're like, whoa, this is awesome. And then and it kind of just happened from there. So she's really kind of honed in on her niche of like runners and ultra runners, and she really kind of like, but I mean, she works with weightlifters, she works with powerlifters, she works with climbers, a lot of climbers, especially now that we're at Boulder Rock Club. But yeah, she does a really good job at being personalized and kind of, busting that myth that, running is the only way to get faster, because doing stability and mobility work help with injury prevention. They help with injury recovery. So I'm sure if I hadn't have been seeing her, I would have been injured by now by how much I'm training and how much I'm running. So it helps with a variety of things.
Got it. And I remember the last time we talked, you had your own business, Scheme Running. How's that going? You're saying you've been working on some projects.
Yeah, and I'm actually working with Alan at the Chiro Lab with it. So
Cool.
we've kind of like changed the model. I've kind of iterated on it a lot. It was just going to be this place where you buy gear and we do trail tours and motivate people. But now it's kind of turned into a collective of people. So like we have coaches, sports psychologists, like Ellen, like sports work. We had nutritionists. So it's an all-in-one place where an ultra runner or runner can come and get all the services that they need. It's like a one-stop shop because especially here in Boulder, there's so many options and you don't know who's good, who's not good. Do I really need to do this type of work? Do I not? Well, if you come to Scheme, we've already vetted people for you and we know that these people are good for runners and specifically ultra runners. And they cover everything, like all facets of training. Just like I said, even sports psychology, and then also we offer a service too, where if you don't have crew, to go with you to a race, we will go with you.
That's great.
And and we'll already know your nutrition, so we'll have food ready for you. Like we'll have your nutrition ready for you. And then of course Ellen will come too. So like if you get injured in the race, she'll be there to kind of help work it out, which helps tremendously. And then after the race, she'll be there to kind of like loosen up your body and to help you recover. So yeah, we definitely expanded a lot. And our website is just Scheme Running, SCHEME running.com. So we're really expanding, and I'm pretty excited about it.
Nice. Yeah, that's good to hear. Yeah, I really like the whole concept of, I remember when we first talked, this idea of purging negativity.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and that's kind of the model we follow, is like this whole catharsis of like using negativity, whether that's somebody cutting you off in traffic or you were, you had a family member die or, using anything and using ultra running and running to kind of, replace that negativity with positivity, and really embrace the purge. Ooh, that should be our new tagline.
Embrace the purge. I like that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Hey, man, it's just been fun. Gotta wrap up this conversation. But are you still on Instagram? Are you still the same handle?
Yeah.
Primal Flow?
Yeah, primal_flow.
Flow.
Yeah.
And so if people want to contact you for all things Scheme Running, where should they contact you?
Probably the easiest way to just be follow Scheme Running, SCHEME running on Instagram and just send a message. Because we have an email and all that stuff like that, but I'm posting stories and stuff, so that's probably the best way to get in contact.
Awesome. Thanks again.
Sweet, man.
Pleasure as always.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Anytime.